Hello, good afternoon, good evening, good morning. Okay, I want to talk about the contradictions in the Quran. There is actually contradiction in the Quran. So the Quran is actually rubbish. Okay? But before you jump to the conclusion, before you become the deaf, dumb and blind, let me explain to you the difference between this about the time and the distance. Okay, because a Christian posed this question in the debate group. Okay, since I was unable to respond because Facebook banned me, so I have to come up with this video. Okay, his question is, does Allah's day equal to 1,000 human years, as mentioned in the Surah 2247 and 325, or 50,000 human years, as in Surah 74? Oh my God, this is the contradiction. So the Quran is pure rubbish, garbage, especially according to David Wood. Okay, so to the unlearned, let me explain to you. Okay, because the verse 74 is talking about the distance from earth to the throne. Okay, which is something that they do not know, because I don't know which copy, which translation that Christian was reading from. So I quote to you the three translations from Sahih International, Pickthall and Yusuf Ali. When I first read the Quran, I read the Yusuf Ali version, because I like Yusuf Ali version because Yusuf Ali was writing in the old English. The thou, the thee, the shall not, I love those words. And then the second Quran that I picked up in English was Pickthall. So I'm quite familiar with his style of writing, a bit more modern English. Sahih International it came with this software. I get this software, not software from the internet. It's from legacy.com, Quran, legacy.com. They have all the multiple languages and translators. I think there are about 7 or 9 translations, but I just choose 3 of these more famous translators. Okay, so according to Sahih International, the angels and the spirit. Now, who's angel and who's spirit? This one I don't know. The angels, we know the angel, but the spirit, which spirit? Okay, will ascend to him during a day, the extent of which, you see, the extent of which is the extent. Extent means what? Distance. The distance is in 50,000 human years. And can you imagine the speed of light? The angel travels at the speed of light. Allah just want to tell you that the distance from earth to his throne is 50,000 human years at the speed of light. The angels are traveling at the speed of light. That means, do you know how big is the universe? The speed of light travel, what is the speed of light in 1 minute? Okay, I don't know, I forgot. Okay, and then in Pickthall, whereby the angels and the spirit ascend unto him in a day whereof the span. You see, the span is talking about the span of what? The span of time. And the span also can refer to the distance. This is the distance from earth to the throne is 50,000 years. And Yusuf Ali, the angels and the spirit ascend unto him in a day, the measure whereof is as 50,000 years. The measure. So you take the keyword from here, the extent, the span, the measure. It is surely talking about the distance from the earth to the throne. Okay, at the speed of light that the angels are traveling. It takes 50,000 Earth years to reach the throne. So this verse is actually God is telling you, you have to be patient for His help. If you make dua, make prayer to God, you have to be patient, because the information to reach to the throne already takes 50,000 years, but that doesn't mean the information by the angels to God takes 50,000 years. By the time you die already, okay? This is just give you a picture about the distance from Earth to the throne. 50,000 Earth years at the speed of light. That is the measure, the span, the extent between the throne and the earth. Okay, so I hope this Christian should understand. But I don't know which Quran he picked up. There are many translators. There are even Christian who translated the Quran. It's quite funny, Okay, but in verse 2247, it is clearly talking about what? The equivalent of one day at the throne to the number of days on earth. So this is talking about the time. It's talking about the time. One day in heaven is only equivalent to 1,000 years on earth. So if you can imagine why Jesus never returned after 2,000 earth years, because Jesus is in heaven and he only spent there for 2 days. So what you expect? What if God tell him, okay, Jesus, later you come down on the 7th day? God's number is always 7. So can you imagine how many more years we have to wait for Jesus? 5,000 more years. Okay, this is just my speculation, my conjecture, okay? My wisdom, WISHDOM, not my WISDOM, okay? Now, Sahih International says, and they urge you to hasten the punishment, but Allah never failed in His promise. And indeed, a day with your Lord is like 1,000 years of those which you count. Okay, that means a day in heaven is only 1,000 years on earth. Okay, so Jesus was only spending 2 days in heaven. Maybe God gave him 7 days annual leave for his ministry. Okay, now Peter says, and they will beat thee hasten on the doom. And they will beat thee hasten on the doom. Sometimes the English so funny. And Allah failed not His promise. But lo, a day with Allah is as 1,000 years of what ye reckon. Okay, Yusuf Ali, I'm very familiar with Yusuf Ali because I read from cover to cover. Yet they ask thee to hasten on the punishment, but Allah will not fail in His promise. Verily, a day in the sight of thy Lord is like 1,000 years of your reckoning. And the verse 32:5 is just a duplicate. Okay, let me just read to you just to make it the video a little bit longer. He arranges each matter from the heaven to the earth. Then it will ascend to him in a day, the extent of which is 1,000 years of those which you count. I think that guy mixed up the this extent with this extent of the time with the extent down here. So he got mixed up. Because maybe Sahih International vocabulary runs short, okay? And in Pickthall, he directs He directed the ordinance from the heaven unto the earth. Then it ascended unto him in a day whereof the measure is 1,000 years of what he reckoned. So the extent, the measure. Let's see what Yusuf Ali will use the vocabulary. Okay, he rules all affairs from the heavens to the earth. In the day, in the end, will all affairs go up to him on a day. On a day should be in a day. The space whereof will be as 1,000 years of reckoning. So in 32:5 he used the word the extent, the measure, the space. You see, I think Yusuf Ali shouldn't use the word the space. The space is really talking about distance. That's why there's those without wisdom. Okay, that's why I say Quran is only meant for those who have the faculty of understanding. No ordinary man can just pick up the book from the Quran and read and then understand it fully. They will never get it. You need to have a lot of good deeds, you know, to have wisdom. Okay, if you do a lot of sin, you will not have any wisdom. Okay, so my message to the Christian, please, if you read the Quran, especially there's a verse about the sun that set in the muddy water. That's the most famous verse that the Christian quote as, you know, as rubbish from the Quran, you know. It's because they don't have the faculty of understanding, then they say the Quran is rubbish. Okay, the Quran is written in a pure poetic, is a poem, you know, a poetry in Arabic, because when you recite it as a poetry, it sounds very beautiful. That's why most of the people can memorize the poem, because it is very beautiful, easy to remember. Understand now? So there is actually no contradiction in the Quran. It's just that your lack of understanding is robbing you of your intelligence, okay, so to speak. Okay, thank you guys.